The president of Korea announces the end of the world after a zombie-inducing asteroid strikes Japan, turning people into bloodthirsty flesh-eaters. The apocalypse begins and panic erupts everywhere. No one knows what to do or where to run. But there's one guy who's more than ready. He's got his own safe shelter in another world and has been waiting a long time to crush some zombie asses. That guy is our MC, Zhang Ho. Months ago, Sean Ho and his friends played Asura, the most difficult virtual survival game ever made. The game was sweaty and difficult to the point most players stopped playing it completely. Seon Ho's party ditched him with the ultimate betrayal of never logging back in again. He was left alone playing and streaming the game, facing all kinds of monsters and becoming the best. Sick of his life, one day, our boy took off his headgo and deleted all of his public streams. Zhang Ho focused on his life as a chef and found a cute girl as his favorite customer. He jokingly decides to chant status window in real life and stuns himself when he actually sees a real blue screen hovering before his eyes. The screen outlines his stats. They are the same from the game he played with one difference. He has a new ability called Private Portal. Testing this ability, Sean Ho materializes a human-sized warp gate. His mind struggles to comprehend the dangers of this new discovery. Because if the game is real, then the meteor that started the apocalypse was also coming. On the web, Ho frantically stumbles across one such article about the steroids' incoming fall. He refuses to accept that the events of the game are occurring in real life. Our boy stays at the portal before his eyes. First, he received confirmation of the asteroid and now this portal gate, confirming that something is wrong. Hesitating, he wonders if he should really enter this thing at all. With no powers, no plans and money, he contemplates stepping foot inside. In the end, Bro reflects on a few things and grabs the nearest ladle he could find. There, he sticks the ladle inside the portal to get a good feel of what was at the bottom of the other side. After scooping some dirt, he realizes that the other side isn't taking place inside a labyrinth stage of the game. That's a good thing, but he's also starting to wonder if this portal will teleport him to a different location on Earth. Having packed his bags to prepare for the trip, he encourages himself to finally go inside. In the next scene, Brothers pass the portal and discovers the beauty of the other side. It's a scenery without anything urban in sight. The first thing this guy notices is just how cold the weather is compared to the usual. With no signal on his phone, this dude analyzes that he's stuck in some kind of remote area that won't be reached by anyone easily. Long story short, Bros if he's stuck here. Taking out a Sharpie, he marks one of the trees with a number 0. This is actually a smart move on his part to make sure that he doesn't get too lost in his exploration process. He starts walking and walking, but the walk takes a toll on him. The forest appears endless with nothing in sight. Right when this guy was begging for things to get interesting, a creature glared at him nearby. Instantly, this thing pounced like a predator and scared the crap out of our boy. Luckily, it's just a gorgeous valley deer and not some kind of flesh-eating monster. An interesting detail is that the system automatically identified this unique creature for him, confirming that this place is in fact separate from the realm of Earth. The creature stares at him before dashing away without a word. Not that I expected this thing to start talking or anything, but you get what I mean. Even our protagonist thinks that it's weird for this thing to just peace out like that. The good thing is that the deer wasn't aggressive. However, things are going to get really fudging ugly for him if he runs into bloodthirsty monkeys or bars. One more interesting detail is that the valley deer never even existed in the Asura game. Right after arriving here, he had a striking hunch that this realm is related to survival life and its concepts. Taking out a blade, he walks forward, preparing himself for anything that will come out and startle him. So far, he's denied the reality of a disaster heading to end humanity. But right when he was about to give up, he found it. His eyes glanced at the shining sun apple, a mystical fruit that he plucked from the tree. First, he wonders if biting it is okay, Then he takes an actual bite and experiences immediate change. The system informs him of his stamina restoration, and his body shimmers with a yellow glow. Its effects are actually the same as the sun apple juice they used to drink in the game, with one more thing serving as pure confirmation. Our boy is now convinced that something terrible is soon about to happen. Bro was also next to goblin poop, which means he has to be careful. Seongo takes a worrisome sigh, trying to strengthen his morale, but despite his beliefs, he now knows that the end of the world is soon to come. After experiencing the portal gate's effects, he exited it and went back to his original world. Here, Sean Ho began brainstorming solutions. He wanted to be ready for the apocalypse to come. So, the first thing he did was review all of the footage of the game and start it in a personal hard drive. Conveniently, he actually streamed the game every time he played it, so he could easily save that data, though he never even expected to use it like this one day. News of the asteroid's fall reached him. The Japanese destruction would begin in 32 days alongside the start of the apocalypse. Until then, he decided to prepare because the game was unfortunately full of the worst mechanics ever. The craziest and problematic of them all was something called Iron Death Disease. This little phenomenon resulted in the corrosion and destruction of every piece of metal on Earth. Buildings ravaged to dust, and it aided the zombie swarm hours after it happened. With the obliteration of metal in modern-day society, humanity returned to the Stone Age. The Iron Death Disease eventually subsided in the game, but the main problem was the fact that it literally lasts for an entire year. Even then, the incoming Iron Death Disease didn't mean much to our boy, who had a safe solution to access his private portal, thanks to his newly acquired trait. Of course, Sean Ho has a very strong assumption that the disease will be incapable of passing through the portal. Wrapping up his analysis, he chucked up all of the money he saved to buy premium tier equipment. Bro was about to enter a Call of Duty zombie apocalypse lobby in real time, so he got all the gear and supplies for survival. Checking the forums at night, Xiang Ho found himself disappointed by the few people who abused their awakened abilities for a life of crime and enjoyment. Morning came around. He bought more supplies to aid his eventual mission. On the way back, Bro even bought a hunting bow for Shitey. While doing all of this, he faced a realization. Zongho thought that maybe he was overthinking all of this. Maybe he was getting ahead of himself and acting hastily. Still, he thought he could earn all his savings back eventually, even if he was wrong. With his morning errands completed, he returned home and put up a closing sign on his shop. Zion Ho was in the middle of his thoughts when he suddenly heard someone's voice. Tu Shaheen from Solo Leveling worriedly asks about the closed shop. He tells her that it's just for some remodeling work, which makes her wonder if he scored it big time and earned a lot of money. Sean Ho quickly exits the conversation by stating that he's got some work to do, but suddenly she stops him and tries to ask a question. The girl ends up flustered and doesn't actually state her request, turning back to leave. Seon Ho is curious about her question, and though he could have easily pushed her for an answer, he went back to his business. Inside, he vowed to take things seriously and work on stuff that actually mattered. Bro really said, "I'm going to ignore baddies and lock in for real." He commands open the portal. Reflecting on his actual game style, one could call him a playmaker or a planner. A guy who loves using strategies to overcome each stage. He wasn't exactly a powerful combatant, and mostly relied on his brains. The reason is actually simple. In Sura, there's a complicated way of earning stats. You don't just acquire them after level UPS. You only acquire them after hunting and exploring. Right now, our boy is in the other realm trying to hone his skills with the bow. Clearly, with no practice and teaching before, Bro uses YouTube tutorials to teach himself. Exgungo postures himself correctly and takes aim to shoot. A sight of him from the game is reflected in his experience until he eventually lets go of the shot. The arrow flings its way to the board, hitting the target. Bro is actually stunned by his talent to the point he thinks he's the chosen one. However, with how sore his hand is, Sung-ho realizes that his real drawback is his strength. That's why he wants to focus on working out and boosting his physical endurance. With basic preparations wrapped up, he would now move to the next step. Immediately, he needed to take care of two things. The first was to outline a way to hunt down monsters properly. The second was to build a home base where he could store supplies without worry. However, at the moment, he had no weapons and absolutely no supplies because they were in the process of delivery. Until then, he hunted golden apples and went crazy with his luck running into them. Having marked a few spots, he taught himself to prepare for the apocalypse to come. His early preparation is the same reason he survived in Asura for as long as he did. Looking around, Zhang-ho runs into Goblin Waste. He'd been meaning to find it merely for a simple goal. The thing about goblins is that they love acting in groups. The fact that only one piece of was on the ground, and I mean that literally, tells him that there's one around here. Poop. Inspector Promax interacts with the waste and judges that the goblin must be an outcast. Sean-ho knows this guy will be his golden ticket. He's got to hunt him down as best he can. By night, his search for the lone goblin continued. He heard wolves nearby, which signifies that he's closer to the valley. And then he spots the same goblin he was looking for. Seon-ho hid behind a tree, but he could see that this thing looks identical to the creatures of the game. Now, goblins are supposed to be the lowest grade of monsters. Their only weapons are spears and poisonous darts. They are best known for mutilating their opponents and torturing them. It's actually the very reason our boy chose a long-ranged weapon, a bow, for his first choice. From the looks of things, the goblin is old and in condition. It doesn't have any weapons. So, Sung-ho instantly whips his bow. He knows that if he can maintain his calm, he'll kill this thing. Upon the release of the bow, the arrow shoots right through the goblin's arm, piercing its arm. Sung-ho aimed for its head, but is happy with the result. Utilizing this advantage, he tries to take his second shot, but the goblin throws a stone so hard that his weapon is launched out of his hands. Sean-ho realizes that he's dealing with a mature and experienced goblin. Both of them prepare their blades for close quarters combat. The ultimate showdown between Sun Jin-woo and Beru begins. Wait, wrong story. Sean-ho loads his knife and tries to slash the goblin's side. The experienced goblin dodges and smacks our boy's kneecap pretty damn hard. Taking things to the ground, Sean-ho tackles the goblin, forcing it on its back. Here he has the clear advantage. Seong-ho takes the blade and plunges it deep inside the creature's chest, causing it to scream in pain. Eventually, the light from its eyes fades. The first kill has been successful, and Seong-ho acquires 2 points because of it. He can't even believe that he managed to do what he did. Scanning his environment, he finds guaca powder and vegetable oil nearby. In the game, combining these results in an ointment, but first, he needed to dig up fast. It's far too dangerous to let this goblin rot outside because the group could find it and hunt Zhang-ho because of it. Leaving it to rot isn't a good idea either, because it will turn into something called a bone creeper. Zhang-ho finds a pair of red trouts nearby. Zion-ho's heart trembles as he realizes the moment he averts his gaze, Bro discovers the creepiest owl monster staring down at him. Before this segment, we go back to Zhang-ho's runs in the game when he was a player. During his streams, he compiled a bunch of material insight for the game. Some of his chat members donated money just for him to dive right into the goods. Seong-ho got into the bottom of it and described his experience with goblins and kobolds last time. Avoiding Bone Creeper is essential as well, but the forest houses 2 of the most dangerous creatures in the game. These are werewolves and owlbears. Owlbears are territorial creatures, which means their existence creates harmony in the monster ecosystem. Remembering the era of streaming, Sean-ho found warmth in his heart. There was this one guy, Bullenman, who was always happy for him. The others were chill and a bit weird, like barking dog dude who just couldn't stop typing woof in chat for some reason. Strangely enough, Seon-ho wonders why he's facing such happy memories. Is it because he's staring down the incarnation of literal horror before him? A creature that was going to end his life. Zong-ho refuses to accept reality. It's as if those memories are telling him to concentrate. He uses every moment at his disposal to think of a plan. He already knows that the owl bears are damn near vicious and tear apart anything in front of them. The fact that the creature is standing still without doing anything implies that it isn't as hungry. But the more important thing getting on his nerves right now is that they've invaded the territory of the red trout. With all of these important factors considered, Zhang Ho realizes that there's possibly only one way for him to escape this nightmarish situation. Turning his feet, he reminds himself that he's still the Kim-up-joa in his head, even if his body is the lowly physique of Kang Ho. Gritting his teeth, he challenges the monster to face him, a final declaration of his will to survive. The creature eyes him down, initiating its terrorizing first attack. The owl bear is especially great at hunting at night, but its main weakness is direct sunlight. Having memorized its patterns in the game, Seong-ho knows that he only has to execute to save his life. Matching the timing of the beast's attack, Seong-ho excellently evades the slash, and at the same time thinks of a way to create some kind of light effect to terrify the monster. Bursting with speed, he runs up the creature's huge arm before finally whipping out a flashlight and blinding its eyes point blank. This effect is so traumatizing for even a predator like the owl bear that it is completely blinded. The next scene cuts to our boy rotting in his bed as his alarm rings. He knows he has to get back up even after his body is sore as after last night. Seon-ho passed out right after returning home. His last memory is him running for his life after blinding the monster. As luck would have it, he ran it into an owl bear right after facing a goblin. Bro doesn't want to deal with that again and tries to get up to eat something. He kisses the floor with a thud, realizing that his legs are annihilated after that cardio. Luckily, he's still got those golden apples from the other realm. Seon-ho grabs one and takes a bite, instantly rejuvenating his stamina with its effects. Finally, he feels more alive than ever before, wondering if he should now properly satiate his stomach. But after tidying himself up, Bro ends up running into Chu Shaheen again. She's come here to eat in a different restaurant and coincidentally ran into him. Seong-ho wasn't looking for company, but she sat here because she likes having a meal buddy. Mikyong hurriedly asks him if he tried opening the status window. Her enthusiastic attitude makes Young-ho realize that this must be the topic she wanted to discuss last time, but stopped herself from. Mikyong shows him the news and assures him that it's real. Some awakened players are actually using their powers to steal money from others. Zion-ho is a little startled by her confidence to ask something like that directly. He answers her by lying and saying that nothing showed up. The thing is, Zong-ho feels like he's doing the right favor by keeping others blind about his status. First of all, his trait is strategic and not combat-focused. It's something he can utilize to the best of his advantage instead of sharing with others. Right now, not even his personal safety is guaranteed. If he ends up revealing his hand to the lady in the red dress, which in this case is her, then things could really end up badly for him. It's a smart play. However, the dude is intrigued how Mikyong is taking so much interest in asking about awakening. Then comes a surprise from her. She hesitates and even admits to stating a lie. Seong-ho assumes good intentions from her and even assures her that she doesn't have to say anything. He encourages her that there's still time and heads home shortly after their conversation. Finally, his delivery packages arrived. Stuff he ordered came, and now he didn't need to worry about supplies. He moved his stuff up to the rooftop and only kept important stuff on the second floor. During his preparation work, he selected a whole bunch of items necessary for today's mission. Stuff like gas masks and suits and other equipment. For his upcoming mission, our boy intends to find a proper location to use as a hideout. It's necessary for him to build a home base, hence the purpose of the axe. Passing through the portal, Zion Ho faces his first lead in finding a hideout. He accidentally discovered a goblin cave while looking for the old goblin. Recalling its location, he travels to that exact same spot and finds it. It's a pretty convenient spot to hide, one that is perfect for his plans. However, first he needed to verify the kind of monsters that lived here. Soon Ho scans the environment and finds tiny footprints of kobolds passing by. This is actually a discovery to celebrate because these guys aren't any trouble at all. Ho had already come here with a plan against any low-level monsters to begin with, so he had nothing to worry about. The thing about kobolds is that they are nocturnal creatures. They are currently sleeping, so our boy's plan is to suffocate them inside. First, he gathers a bunch of firewood by cutting some branches. Afterwards, he places the collected group at the entrance. The next idea is to spill gasoline all over it. Seon Ho thought he was going to clear this mission with no trouble, because all he had to do now was light up a fire. But then he shockingly heard their noise. They came out of their slumber and immediately locked eyes with their next meal. Seong Ho gently greets them before whipping his axe and lunging forth into action. In a simple swing, he slashes both monsters around their necks, killing them immediately. The reason they went down so easily is because of the drowsiness from earlier. Thanks to these consecutive kills, the system awards him with an increase in level and 4 points. Next, Sean Ho tosses the lighter in the firewood. Shortly after, the fumes start to go inside. In the Asura game, low-level monsters had one glaring weakness. They were vulnerable to new things, and this was one of them. Our boy waited with a gas mask outside. Though he could have tried to burn them directly, this method was even more effective with the cleanup process. The slumbering kobolds frantically woke up and ran outside to save themselves. Seong Ho intentionally chose this strategy to weaken their bodies and create confusion among their escape. The moment they stepped outside, his objective was to take advantage while they were down to kill them at once. Though he expected at least 5 of them to come out, Zango is stunned that only 4 did. This is different from their usual group of 7. Aiming at one of the kobolds, Seong Ho slaughters it dead, declaring that only 3 of them now remain. The remaining 3 ran up to him, doing what little they could do to attack. But our boy was ready with his axe. This man was swinging home runs with the weapon and taking them down. Another kobold tries to attack, but the all-powerful fart spray of death blinds him point blank. Before it could even do anything, Seon Ho helped cut off its head. With just one final one left, our boy stays down at their leader, fidgeting in fear. He has become the hunter and declares their end, promising to make good use of their hideout. The bloodbath ends at last with Seong Ho fatigued on the ground. His lack of stamina is the real drawback right now, even though they were easy to beat. The system stats, interestingly, are no different than from the game. Even the debuff section from the exhaustion state status points not increasing after level up is the same too. Still, leveling up will eventually unlock shop items for him. So, that's good on its own. Right now, the most convenient thing is that he can use a private space of his own. But, as much as our boy wanted to have a clean environment inside, he found himself disappointed with the mess the kobolds made. With a hideout secured, cleaning operations began. This dude had to clear so much of Goblin that he got tired of it. Cleaning up so much felt like a pain in the ass, especially after having cleared a proper fight. Seho cursed at the shitty creatures for living in garbage. Still, he had nothing to worry about anymore with a new home base. Sean Ho returns to his side of the world every time he needs to take out the trash. That was a benefit, but still it took him so much time to clean up. The one thing that surprises him the most is discovering how easy it is to use items between dimensions. So, he used a pipe from one side and activated it on the other, even astonishing himself with how well it works. Hours of effort aside, the place is now glittering with cleanliness. Next, he needs to clear bloodstains and work on pouring concrete, so storing stuff is easier. He thinks about the complications of mortar and using sandwich panels. But the one good thing about this shitty cave is that it is full of luminous and ignition stones. These are newbie stones in the game, but the place is full of them, so that's good. Sean Ho now has a reason to mine this place properly after construction. The following day, bro is at the edge of his life. He's working so hard every day that his body is aching all over. Checking his arm, he surprises himself with the few cuts he endured. His collected items from the other realm rest on the table side. Sean HGHO wonders if he should make an ointment using this as an opportunity. The method's pretty simple. In goes the guaca powder and vegetable with equal ratio. Then some stirring. And there we have it. A low-level ointment for basic healing. Thanks to our boy's background in cooking, the chef has an easier time making these. Just applying the ointment on his arm feels like a step in progress. However, Sean Ho is troubled with the realization that he might have to make it again and again. He contemplates the idea of raising his stats by focusing on fundamentals. But then again, he's risking his life so much that he could even die before the damn apocalypse arrives. Even though that would be funny, as Seong Ho doesn't want to take the risk and thinks of using a more convenient weapon like a gun. Suddenly, a thought clicks his head. There is definitely something he could use. Separated from the main storyline of the game, we have its background lore. But the big question is, will that background lore even apply to the incoming apocalypse? Utilizing that information, Sean Ho calls his thoughts, hoping for the backstory events to occur because they'll benefit him in unimaginable ways. With a new plan created, this guy goes up to the rooftop for the construction materials he ordered. Opening the portal gate, our boy starts tossing these bags to the other side one by one. After that, he went ahead to pick some other items, then went down to the first floor. He was about to move a pile of packages when suddenly that same girl popped up again. Seong Ho is starting to wonder if she's getting too comfortable with him at this point. Bro says it straight to her face, causing her embarrassment. He assures her that he's just busy with remodeling work, and she thinks he's telling the truth. What surprises her is that he hasn't come in for his regular haircut every 3 months. Zong Ho remembers yes and also understands that a haircut is needed for the incoming exploration, so he drops what he's doing and goes to her shop. Bro is looking like a Korean version of Moist Critical. He orders her to shave it all off. The buzzcut Sigma Arc surprised, she decides to carry out his request. What intrigues her is how Sean Ho's shoulders have gotten broader. I mean, let's be honest, no girl is ever going to say that for real. He tells her he's been working out, while Mick Young talks about the status window being related to the game's survival life. Awakeners are people who have played the game at least once. All this time, Shang Ho plays dumb and agrees with everything, but he also curiously asks about her source of information. Suddenly, one tatted dude enters the shop, revealing that he's here for the new intel. Hilariously, this guy happens to have fought Seiho in the past, but only in a singing competition. Our boy is pissed that this clown happens to be her source of information. The blonde hair tells her that a certain someone deleted the streams and only keeps information for himself. It's an awkward moment because this guy even announces that he's trying to dox the player's real location. Seong Ho is really curious about this mystery person. In hack name drops Kimbab Jojo, which was Zango's username. This complicates things already because now our boy knows that people are genuinely out there hunting him down. In-hand forces the young lady to be bold and to join their team. Sean HGHO thinks the whole situation is stupid. The only reason he deleted the video is simply because he was disappointed. He never had any time to think about personal benefits. Anyway, this punk is a know-it-all wannabe who talks big game. He even curses at Zango for ditching everyone without publicly posting information of his streams, not knowing that the very same guy he's currently hunting is sitting in front of him. Zong Ho wonders if the community's reaction is the same as well. This makes him wonder if he should really change course and share information. Bro personally gets up to personally confront Inhuk, scolding him for ruining his haircut in the middle of a session. In tries to play Mr. Tough Guy with our boy, but Shengho glares at the with murderous eyes, ordering him to get lost quickly unless he wants to be humiliated again. Intimidated, the punk exits the shop as the lady bids him farewell. Mikyoung feels relieved. Seeing her in distress, our boy asks for her number only because he thinks this guy is genuinely a clown who could threaten her life. Back at home, our boy is looking like a model with his new look. First, he focused on his username and decided to look up information in the forum. What he found was alarming. The whole forum was flooded with curses and swears directed at him. He was receiving endless hate, until he actually ended up finding the username of Inhok. The clown even used a nickname despite having full verification accessible on the website. His entire page was flooded with negative commentary about our boy. A true hater and redditor in spirit, body, and soul. Zengo switches off his computer, knowing that it's the only appropriate reaction. He wasn't mentally affected, just disappointed. But then his brain felt a strange sense of calm as he commanded the portal. He spent the next 2 days refining his hideout, working on mining and construction. The pickaxe helped him, and then he spread the mortar with water, smoothing it evenly each day. With work finished, he comes out waiting for the mortar to dry. During this moment, he stays at the lonely moon. Suddenly, Seon Ho realized that he had to respond to this injustice and level of cruelty. He's not some kind of hero, and is not looking for a grandiose purpose in life. His ultimate goal is ultimate survival. That's all that matters, as long as is winning. Making his resolution, he turns around and finds himself frightened. There's a bone creeper clanking up to him. Seon Ho was already pissed off, so he's finally found a target to focus his attention on. A loud explosion follows, engulfing everything in flames.